morning, children. We are going into the next part. So in the previous class, we saw different types of solutions. What is a pure substance? What is a mixture? And I hope you have separated those things, isn't it? Now we learned how to make a mixture. So what is a mixture? A mixture is a substance which contains more than one type of molecule. So now here I am going to make a mixture with soil. So for that I am taking a glass, putting some soil into it, and then what are we to pour to make it a mixture? Either we have to pour a liquid, isn't it? So I am pouring water into it. Okay. So now after pouring water, we know that this is a mixture. So this is a mixture. Now we will wait for some time. So now look at this mixture. What happens to this soil which is mixed in the water? We know after some time it will settle down, isn't it? After some time this will settle down, and we know the lightweight in the soil there will be pieces of dry leaves and dry twigs and all those things, and we know soil is heavy, so we know that the heavier things will settle down and the lighter things will be on top. Okay, so we will wait for some time. Okay, after some time we know that this will settle down. So now here we can see that most of the soil has settled down, isn't it? Now, can we separate this water from the soil? Can we separate this water from the soil? We can, isn't it? How can we separate? We can take another glass and then slowly pour this top water into an other glass, isn't it? This top water slowly we can pour it into an other glass. So here we can see that the soil is settled down, and we can see that we have got some clear water. Is it very clear now? No, we know that certain materials are running about on top and the water is not very clear. Now what did I do? I made a mixture using the sand or soil. After that I took another glass of water. After settling down, I poured the clear water into another glass. This process is called as decantation. What is it called? Decantation. So what is decantation? Decantation is the process of separating the clear liquid above after sedimentation of the components of the mixture. That means we know I put soil in this, I put water, we made a mixture. Once the components, what are the components? There is water and there is soil which contains many other things. So those are the components. So once the components settle down, sedimentation, what is it? What is that settling down process called as? Sedimentation. So after the components of the mixture has undergone sedimentation, there is clear liquid on top. So that clear liquid, when we separate it from the mixture after sedimentation of the components, is called as decantation. So you take a tumbler like this, put sand or soil, mix it. After some time the components, that is the soil and the other things, will settle down. That is called as sedimentation, and then the clear liquid will be on top. That liquid, when you separate it from this mixture, this process is called as decantation. I hope that is very clear for you. So decantation is one method of separating the mixture. So when it is a mixture like this, we can use the method decantation. Yesterday I showed you powder, chalk powder, heterogeneous mixture. Chalk powder also, that mixture also we can separate like this. After some time the chalk powder will settle down. we can separate like this. Now I have this water. Is it clear? No. When you look at it itself, we know it is not very clear. Now I want to make this water very clear. Okay. For that I have certain things with me. What all I have? I have a sieve. This you know. This we use it to strain tea. So I have this with me. Then I have this sieve with me. We know to why does mother use the sieve? To when you are powdering rice powder for making different dishes at home, to take out the to remove the thick materials from that, we use the sieve, isn't it? So this is called as a sieve. So why is the sieve used? At home to sieve the rice powder or wheat powder or any other materials for cooking, we use the sieve. Then this is also called as a sieve, a strainer. Why do we use this tea strainer? To strain the tea, we use this tea strainer. Then I don't have a funnel, so I have made an improvised funnel from a old bottle, and I have filter paper with me. This is filter paper. Okay, this we will get from the any shops we will get. So this is filter paper. I have a funnel, I have a tea strainer, and I have a sieve with me. So to make this water clear, which of these things can I use? So you will say we can use a tea strainer, isn't it? Yes. Okay. We will try with the tea strainer. So I am taking this and pouring this water through a tea strainer. So now we saw that some more twigs and dry leaves were there. All that can be sieved and taken. So this we can sieve. Still, now see, is the water clear? No, isn't it? So to make it more clear, what things can we use out of this? Have you any idea? Some of you might know, some of you don't know. So here I am going to explain that thing. We can use a funnel and a filter paper to make this water more clear. I can use a funnel and a filter paper. So this filter paper, either you will get it as a round filter paper or you will get it as a sheet like this. So this sheet, I have cut it into a round shape and taken like this. Now how can we use the filter paper? We have to fold it into 4 like this. So when you fold it into 4, you will get like this, and then we can open it like this in the center and make it like a funnel. Okay, fold it into 4 and open like this, or else we can keep it like this. Anyway you do, you will get a funnel like this. Now what must we do to this filter paper? We have to push it inside the funnel which I have. I hope you can see. So push it into the funnel. After that what can we do? We have to use this to filter the water. So I take a glass and I have to keep this funnel along with the filter paper inside. Then what can I do? What should I do? Pour this water which is already strained into this. So now you can see the water falling down, isn't it? We can see that the water is falling very slowly. Okay. So now 3/4 of the water has fallen into this. Now here, look at this glass of water. Was it the same type we saw here? This was the water we took, isn't it? Now look at this water. It has become clear, isn't it? More clear. Now we can even boil this nicely and use it, or we can refilter it once more. So we know this water has changed like this when we used this filter paper to strain the water. We use this filter paper to strain the muddy water. We got clear water. Look at this. The mud and things have got stuck on this. Using the filter paper, you see the inside part of the filter paper, it's become dirty here. So all the mud and the things mixture what is there in the water, it has kept it there, and using the filter paper, we filtered the water and we got this clear water. This method of clearing water or liquid or separation is called as filtration. So filtration is the process of separating the constituent particles of a mixture using a sieve. So when you use this sieve strainer to strain tea, it is called as filtration. When you use the sieve to strain rice powder, this is also called as filtration. Now this is also another type of sieve. Okay, filter paper is another type of sieve. So using all these things, when we separate the constituent particles, what are constituent particles? In a mixture, there are many particles together. Okay, many molecules of different particles and different molecules. All that together is called as constituent particles. Many particles are there in a mixture. Those particles are called as constituent particles. So when we separate those particles using a sieve, that is called as filtration. Now look here in this picture. Here you can see in a construction site, we use a bigger sieve, isn't it? For what? To sieve the sand. Why are we sieving the sand in a construction building area? We know there are a lot of things inside the sand. If you are a person who is building a house, if you have seen a construction area, you know in the sand there will be shells will be there, big stones will be there. All that should not be there when we are doing plastering for the wall. Okay, for the wall we do plastering with the cement. So in that sand is coming. So there should not be those particles. So what do the masons do? They sieve it using a big mesh. That is also called as a sieve. So in the textbook also you can see that picture. So at home to separate the rice powder we use the sieve. To strain the tea we use this tea strainer. And then we can use the big sieve also to strain the sand. So all this process is called as filtration. So what is filtration? Filtration is the process of separating the constituent particles of the mixture using a sieve. What is decantation? Decantation is separating the settled liquid. Okay. After sedimentation, the clear liquid on top, when we separate it into another vessel, that is called as decantation. I hope this is very clear for you. Now, I am going to take little more clear water. Okay. And do another experiment for you. So in this glass, I am going to take water and I put salt here. This experiment we have already done, isn't it? Putting salt and mixing this. So here I have mixed salt into water. So now here we can see this is a solution, isn't it? This is a solution. Now can I use the same method of filtration to separate salt and water? Can I use filtration to separate salt and water? We have to see, isn't it? So for that we will do one thing. Once again we will do the same method of filtration. I have taken another filter paper. I am keeping inside the funnel and I am keeping inside this glass and pouring this water into the filter paper. So we can see it is dropping down. The water is dropping down. Now we have to see whether the salt will get separated in this filter paper. After filtration, here you can see that in the filter paper you cannot see any particles of salt. So this method we cannot use in this salt water because when you taste this is still salty. So here we have to use another method. What method can we use to separate this salt water? That is water from the salt. What method can we use here? Does anybody have any idea? Okay, I will tell you. Okay, so what we have to go, we are going to do another small experiment here. I am pouring little salt water into this spoon and we will take a candle. So I have taken a candle and now we will take little water, salt water in the spoon. And what can we do here? I'm going to heat it. So when we heat, what will happen? We have already learnt in the other essence of change we have learned. When we heat a liquid, that is when we heat water, what will water change into? Water vapor, isn't it? So liquid on absorbing here, now this water is absorbing heat energy. So when it absorbs heat energy, it will change into water vapor. So there are two constituent particles in this, isn't it? Which are the constituent particles in this? Salt is there, water is there. Those are the two particles which is there in this solution. So out of that, one particle we are avoiding, isn't it? So what is happening to one particle? That is water. That water, what are we doing here? We are heating the water and changing it into water vapor. So I hope you can see the water is evaporating here. It is absorbing heat energy and it is turning into water vapor. Okay, now the water is completely gone here, isn't it? And what can you see here? Is there any water here? No. What can we see? What is remaining in the spoon here? Yes, only salt is remaining. So here we saw that in the solution, the constituent particles are salt and water. And how did we separate the salt from water? We gave heat energy and the water turned into water vapor. What is that process called as? You have already learnt in the water cycle. What is that process called as? That is called as evaporation. So the process by which a liquid absorbs heat energy and gets converted into vapor is called as evaporation. So here in this mixture, okay, solution, it is a mixture but it is a solution because we cannot see two things separately. It is a homogeneous mixture or a solution. So how do you separate a solution like this? We can use this method of evaporation. So the same method is used to get salt. We know salt we get from the sea. Can we go and take vessels of salt and heat and get salt? No. What do they do there? From where do we get the salt? We get salt from the sea. So what do we do? There in certain areas it is called as salt pan. The area where we get salt is called as salt pan. So in the northern states, coastal areas, there are salt pans. What is salt pan? The area or the beach near the sea is divided into small columns. You can see in this picture. And then the sea water is allowed to come into that salt pan and they block those areas and keep and allow the water to evaporate. So who helps in evaporation there? Can we put fire there? No. By which heat does the water get evaporated there? By the heat of the sun. So by the heat of the sun, the water evaporates and the salt is remain. That salt is gathered and distributed to the factories where they powder it and make it into the salt we eat. So in the salt pans, this method is used to separate salt from seawater. So here we learned three things, isn't it? One is decantation. That is, in a mixture, you can allow the mixture, constituent particles in a mixture to settle down and the clear liquid is separated. That is called as decantation. Once the clear liquid is separated, you can filter it using a filter paper. So using a filter paper or a tea strainer or a sieve, when you separate things, that is called as filtration. And what is evaporation? By absorbing heat. When water turns into water vapor, a liquid absorbs and it turns into water vapor. We get the constituent, other particles which are present in that liquid. That process is called as evaporation. So I hope this is very clear for you. 3 methods of separation of a mixture we learnt in this class. Thank you, children.